So I came from a very religious background. My mother, she was a single mother, apostolic woman. Um, Church on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It seemed like hours and hours of church a week. The rest of my family didn't go to church. It was just my mother. I was dating in high school. I met my high school sweetheart. She was also into the church heavy, and she got pregnant freshman year. And it was scary. You know what I mean? I'm a freshman. I don't know how to be a father. I didn't have a father in my life. So we did our best to try to make it work. And then the next year she got pregnant again. So we had kids back to back in high school, and it was a very stressful time in my life, just because we weren't married. We were kicked out the choir. They sat us down. They looked at us different in church, and so I kind of left the church because it was like, well, you can't be a part of this because you did that, and I turned to partying and drinking.
I was raped at a young age, and I never told anybody about it. So I never believed in God, because if God was real, then why did that happen to me? So I started drinking at the age of 12, followed by that. Started drinking, doing drugs, having sex, doing all these things that were everything the church didn't believe in. So my family looked at me differently. My parents started going through a divorce and stopped caring about pretty much what I did. So I had free reign to do whatever I wanted. And by the age of 15, I was a full-blown alcoholic. My dad kicked me out at 15. I went and lived on the streets with my little sister that was 8 at the time. So I learned how to drink, drug, and sell drugs in order to support myself and my sister. And my mom actually broke in my dad's house and found liquor bottles in my bedroom, and that's how she got custody back of me and my sister, was to prove to the courts that my dad had allowed me to become an alcoholic in high school. So through high school, I somehow still managed to go to school for the most part while I was on the streets. But going into my senior year, my at the time boyfriend was killed. And after that happened, I was just off and running again when he died. So that was my senior year. Graduated early my senior year just so I could move out of my parents' house when I turned 18, because I didn't want to have rules anymore. And after that, at 21, I had my first kid. And I tried to get my life together for a short time, but it didn't last very long after that. Met a guy when my son was 1, and he already had 3 kids. And then we had 2 more kids. So in 01, I had a son of my own. In 02, I went from 1 kid to 4 kids. And then in 03, I had my daughter. And in 05, I had my youngest son. So I went from 1 kid to 6 kids from 01 to 05. Life looked good on the outside. We had houses. I had a house, had cars. Life was great. Was going to college. But alcoholism had still taken over my life. I got fired from my job for stealing thousands of dollars. And then decided I wanted to go back to school and try to change my life around, but it didn't do any good. So in 2010, my kid's dad left because of how bad life got between us. And from 2010 to 2013, I was just off and running with the races. Alcoholism had taken over. In 2016, I got sick, and I got hepatitis B. And the doctors told me on Thanksgiving Day that I was going to die, and that it was a battle between me and God. And to tell me I have a battle between me and a person I don't even believe in was a real rough battle. So I, in the hospital, took my IV, went in the bathroom, and I screamed and yelled at 2 o'clock in the morning and screamed and told God I hated him, that if he was real, then why didn't he just let me die an alcoholic that I thought I was? And that why did I even try to get sober if you were just going to let me die at 36 years old and leave my kids alone? And that was really how I felt. And I don't know what changed that day on the floor, but I woke up the next morning and I told the doctor to let me go home, that I was going to give this battle to God and I was going to go home and I wasn't dying in a hospital.
My life, it just continued to spiral. I left the church, and I'm still drinking. And by that time, me and my kid's mother at the time, we broke up. We had 5 kids together out of high school. And I was just, the alcohol took over. I remember trying to commit suicide a couple times because I couldn't stop drinking and I wasn't a father to my kids. That was my biggest thing. Like, I can't kick this and I can't be there for them. And that beat me up. I want to say that I found Christ again, but he never left me. So, he was always there the whole time. After everything I was going through, went into treatment and I got sober and started going to meetings. And I saw this beautiful woman here.
We were at an AA meeting, and we were there with Mark Berkshire, which was a good friend of mine at the time. And Antoine was talking about how I didn't believe in God, and AA was great, and he loved it. It did a lot in our lives, but he wanted more, and I didn't. So Antoine said, I would really love for us to find a church to go to. And that's when Mark said, come to my church. And we walked in and the worship music came on, and I just had never been to a church like that. The church I came from was way different. Rick came out and I was like, where's the pastor? Because he had on like what I called normal people clothes. And I came from, a church where you had to dress a certain kind of way. And I actually enjoyed it, and Antoine was like, well, maybe, like this, we could keep doing this. So, and December of 2018, Antoine got baptized. And then June of 2019, my son and I got baptized at Redemption. And on June 2nd, we got baptized. And on June 3rd, Antoine and I got engaged. And in September of 2019, we got married. So it all happened kind of fast. But by then, we had decided we had been living, in sin. And now, we really have given our lives over to Jesus. We no longer wanted to live that way. So,
yeah, it's what really caught my eye about this church is that it was no judgment.
It was messy.
Mm-hmm. Even though I was like one of the chocolate chips that was in the church, I still felt welcome. And they invited alcoholics and addicts into the church. I've never seen anything like that.
I think in 2019, I started doing Kids Zone. I never imagined I would do that. I never even imagined I would be welcomed, at a church to do that, and started doing midweek on Wednesdays. And then Antoine started doing parking and Kids Zone. And then last year, Antoine was nominated to be a deacon of the church. The reality of it is God has been there my whole life. He was walking with me through everything, through every bad decision, through every good decision. And I'm only, sitting here today, sober, married, and a mom, because God loved me through it all.
It's really no words to explain. Sometimes I just sit back and I meditate and I'm look at and I just think about where God brought me from, and I'm just in awe. Because he's not done. You know what I mean? And the promises, they came true. We are the Pixleys.
And this is our redemption story.